Probably like 5 years.
Okay.
Did like 7 figures. I had ebooks. I remember the first time I made crazy money was I made $33,000 in one day selling a $20 ebook.
No way.
Yeah, and I remember being like, I remember my PayPal, the notifications on my phone, it was like, ba-bling, 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 ba-bling. And I was like addicted to that sound because I was like, that's $20, that's $20, that's $20. And I stayed up for like 36 hours just like watching my phone. And I was like, I also thought it was like fake. I thought like the government was going to steal the money from me. So I remember I went into my PayPal and I like took it out as fast as possible. And I was like, I have to buy something. And like, I like thought I had to
hide
like,
my money.
Oh yeah. I was like, I have to get rid of this money.
Taking
like,
it from me.
Yeah, they're going to steal this money. Like it was too easy to make. I couldn't comprehend it. And essentially what I was doing, if you had social media at the time, I kind of had figured out like a marketing strategy that if anyone remembers the old social media before the algorithm made it shitty, it was chronological. So like, I think I had like maybe like 100,000 followers at this point. I made my $20 ebook and it was like an 8-week ab program is what it was. And if you made a post, it would put it to the top of everyone's feed. And then if you made another post, it put it to the top of everyone's feed. So every hour on the hour, I would repost it and it would go back, it would get bumped up again and all my followers would see it and they would just buy it like crazy. And then I would delete it and I'd post it again every hour. That's why I stayed awake for like 36 hours just doing it. And I started figuring out if I paid other big pages for like shout outs that I could drive their traffic to my pages. So I was just like burning money paying like big pages and it was growing my following. But also, it was super fucking annoying and nobody wanted to see it. So I was losing a lot of followers. But that was okay because I was making like 4 times more followers from paying for the shout outs. So I grew my following a lot like that. Man, I wish I could go back to those times. Oh, yeah. I didn't know it at the time, but now the algorithm sucks and only like 10% of your following sees your stuff. But that's kind of how I did it. And then that was where it like shifted my mind. And I was like, well, you can make a lot of money online.
3, 2, 1.
I want to hear a little bit of your story as an entrepreneur. I'm sure there's a lot of ups and downs, I think, for all of us. And just kind of jam on, some perspective, some nuggets we can share and have a little bit of fun sipping some coffee on the Cafes for Closers podcast, I guess. We're a podcast now.
Yeah, we've made it. We've made it.
So for people that don't know who you are, even though I'd be shocked if they don't know who Colin Main is, who are you, bro?
I'm not that cool. Just from a small town in northern Canada. I guess my first entrepreneurial endeavor was I had a welding company. The oil and gas industry is very large in Alberta, Canada. So I worked in the oil and gas industry and I created a welding company. So I was subcontracting for large oil field companies. Okay. So I'd go do that. I would go work 30 days straight in like minus 50 Celsius, like the coldest, shittiest place in Canada. And then you go into like a work camp, do that for 30 days, get a couple weeks off, blow all your money, go back, do it all over again.
How old were you at the time?
I would have been like 20. When I created my company, I was certified and everything. I would have been like 24. No, 25.
Okay, cool.
So I did that I welded like in total for like 6 years. And then I did that for like 3 years. Made a bunch of money, had some cool experiences. You get to like see bears and wolves and moose and cougars and everything out there. It's pretty cool. Definitely don't want to ever do it again. So I did that. And then eventually I hit a threshold where I was like, I'm tired of working 30 days straight, 12, 14-hour days. You make a lot of money and you can do a lot of cool things, but you never have the time to spend your money. So you trade your time for dollars, essentially. You have no life. And then I've kind of eventually hit a threshold. I was dating a girl and she ended up cheating on me and I was all heartbroken and everything. So instead of like going out and being a degenerate and getting drunk and partying and chasing women, I was like, you know what? I'm going to like focus on personal development. I'm going to get into like developing myself. And I had just finished fighting in MMA and I wanted like a goal, like a physical goal or something to do. So I was going to run a triathlon is what I was going to do. But then I had a friend that was competing in bikini competitions. Mm-hmm. And she's like, why don't you do like a fitness competition? It'll give you like a good goal to like focus on and achieve. So I was like, I didn't know anything about the space. I just knew bodybuilding. And I was like, I'm not big enough to be a bodybuilder.
Yeah.
And I don't have any interest in doing that. So she's like, no, there's like a men's physique category. It's like more athletic, smaller physiques as opposed to bodybuilding. So I was like, all right. So I trained for that and got really dove into that space. So started training, did well, got like third place my first competition, got to compete at like Canadian Nationals and go to the Arnold Classic in America and North Americans and stuff. But in doing that, I kind of started realizing that there was a business model in that fitness space. And this was in like 2014, I believe. I started kind of seeing this new girl. This is like a year later. And I was seeing a new girl and she was doing online personal training.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I don't even know what that is. Like, I only know personal training as like one-on-one, you're at the gym.
This was back in 2014.
Yeah, it would have been like the end of 2013, I think.
Wow, okay.
Yeah. And like Instagram, like it wasn't a big thing. No. Like there was no like fitness influencers.
No.
Or maybe there was, but like there was only a few and they were just starting and everybody's kind of trying to figure out that business model.
Right.
So she was actually, luckily for me, she kind of had figured it out a little bit. And she's like, well, this is what I do and this is all I do full time. And I was like, well, you got a pretty good life. You just like work out and make money and like bring in clients from the internet. And because I was training for these competitions and I was posting like MMA and jiu-jitsu content and then like just working out shirtless selfies and stuff like that, I didn't know that my Instagram following grew to like 40,000 followers. And I didn't know what that meant. I was just like, oh, I don't know. Like to me, it was just a number. I didn't know what it meant.
That's cool.
Yeah. And she's like, well, you have like 2 times more followers than I do. And I make this much money a month. And I was like, oh, she's like, you could probably make double that theoretically.
Right.
And I was like, oh, okay. So I started doing it while I was welding it, like when I would go away for welding.
Yeah.
And then I started making like probably like 3/4 of what I was making as a welder.
Wow.
Yeah. And then that's when I was like, all right, fuck welding. like this sucks. And I'm like, this is a lot easier to just not have to freeze my ass off in negative 50 Celsius weather and work 14 hours a day. So ultimately I just like packed up one day. I was like, I'm done. Packed up all my stuff. And she was on the other side of Canada. So it was like, I don't know, 4,500 kilometers away. I don't know what that is in miles, probably like 3,300 or something.
That's
I don't
far.
know.
Sounds far.
Yeah, it's complete opposite side of Canada. So I packed up all my stuff. I remember I drove home from the oil field, packed up all my stuff and threw it all in garbage bags, drove all the way across Canada. And I ended up being with her for like 3 years. And in that time, she kind of like helped me like develop the business model of it. Did really well. And then that was my first time where I was like, all right, I'm never like trading time for dollars again.
Wow.
And so I did that for.
So this was like really early stage. Like, was it coaching what you were selling?
It was just like personal training, like online coaching. Yeah.
So this is like, you're like an early adopter to like the high ticket coaching space. In a way.
Yeah. I feel like I was probably like 2 years too late.
Oh.
Like if I got into it in like 2011, like
Sure.
it would have been better, but obviously hindsight's 2020.
Yeah.
But I still got in like pretty early and I developed that and grew and scaled that company for probably like 5 years.
Okay.
Did like 7 figures. I had ebooks. I remember the first time I made crazy money was I made $33,000 in one day selling a $20 ebook.
No way.
Yeah. And I remember being like, I remember my PayPal, the notifications on my phone, it was like, ba-bling, 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 ba-bling. And I was like addicted to that sound because I was like, that's $20. That's $20. That's $20. And I stayed up for like 36 hours just like watching my phone. And I was like, I also thought it was like fake. I thought like the government was going to steal the money from me. So I remember I went into my PayPal and I like took it out as fast as possible. And I was like, I have to buy something. And like, I like thought I had to
hide
like,
my money.
Oh yeah. I was like, I have to get rid of this money.
Taking
like,
it from me.
Yeah, they're going to steal this money. Like it was too easy to make. I couldn't comprehend it. And essentially what I was doing, if you had social media at the time, I kind of had figured out like a marketing strategy that if anyone remembers the old social media before the algorithm made it shitty, it was chronological. So like, I think I had like maybe like 100,000 followers at this point. I made my $20 ebook and it was like an 8-week ab program is what it was. And if you made a post, it would put it to the top of everyone's feed. And then if you made another post, it put it to the top of everyone's feed. So every hour on the hour, I would repost it and it would go back, it would get bumped up again and all my followers would see it and they would just buy it like crazy. And then I would delete it and I would post it again every hour. That's why I stayed awake for like 36 hours just doing it. And I started figuring out if I paid other big pages for like shout outs, that I could drive their traffic to my pages. So I was just like burning money paying like big pages, and it was growing my following. But also, it was super fucking annoying and nobody wanted to see it. So I was losing a lot of followers, but that was okay because I was making like 4 times more followers from paying for the shout outs. So I grew my following a lot like that. Man, I wish I could go back to those times. Oh, yeah. I didn't know it at the time, but now the algorithm sucks and only like 10% of your following sees your stuff. But that's kind of how I did it. And then that was where it like shifted my mind. And I was like, well, you can make a lot of money online. And then, from the marketing strategies that I kind of learned in that like few years of doing that, I ended up creating a marketing agency, and I was doing like car dealerships. I was doing internet sales, like bringing in leads for them. And then I'd get a commission of any of the cars sold. So I did that with like BMW, Mercedes, Audi. Did that for like a year. And then I ran into a girl that I knew that was dating a lawyer in the United States. And we kind of started talking, and he was like, hey, why don't you do what you're doing now, but for case accusation? Like finding cases, and then you do the exact same thing. You sell them to law firms and attorneys. And I was like, well, I don't know anything about that. I'm a criminal. Like, I'm not a lawyer because I have a criminal record for a bar fight I got into like years before. And he's like, no, you don't have to be a lawyer. And I was like, oh, okay. So I ended up dropping my marketing agency, focusing on like the cars and stuff like that. And I was like, I'm going to get into this space. So that's kind of how I ultimately got in there. And like, if anybody knows like Johnny Cochran, the Cochran Law Firm, they're one of the biggest law firms in the States. Well, he passed away, but the owner of it is Keith Givens. He's the CEO and the owner of the like 95 Cochran law firms. I ended up randomly starting to like date his goddaughter. And then he kind of became one of my bigger clients and like networked me and brought me into that space and did really, really well in that space. We were selling they're called mass torts. Mass tort is essentially a class action lawsuit, but instead of like a large group of people suing, like say Pfizer or Johnson & Johnson, it's that same group, but they're suing individually. So there's a lot more money being paid out that way. So it's very lucrative. And if you can get into the space and crack the code kind of, which I got lucky, and I kind of, my gift of gab kind of worked me into some circles with a lot of high-powered and influential people and lawyers. So did really well, and then sold out of that after a couple of years. And then that's when I started investing and getting into e-commerce.
E-commerce. Yeah. Okay. Man, what a journey. There's a couple of things you said that one thing, like it's interesting, the more high performers or I guess entrepreneurs I meet is how a breakup can be such like a pivotal moment in your life. Because I know like personally that I've had 2 major relationships that how I handled the breakup like could have like I think would have just steered my life.
Make or break you type thing.
Yeah. And like one of the things you said was like you could have, gone down and started doing drinking or whatever it was, but you chose to like personal development.
Yeah.
I've talked to a lot of entrepreneurs that have had an experience like that. I know myself included. Like this is like 8-10 years ago. After we broke up, I realized like, why am I still in New York working corporate? Like, I don't want to do this. I was doing this because I wanted to buy a house so we could move in together. Like now that was gone, I felt like liberated. And that's actually why I kind of like you packed your truck. I packed my truck and moved the opposite way. I moved from New York to California.
It's a good change.
It was a great change. That was one of the things I picked up. And then the second thing that you were sharing, or they like, I didn't know you're a welder.
Oh yeah.
And
I had a welding company. Yeah.
I grew up doing landscaping, and when I first got to California, I couldn't find work, and I picked up this like landscaping construction job, like making like $13 an hour, sending me out to like the fucking desert. It would be like 95, 100 degrees out there, and you're like hauling debris. There's rattlesnakes and shit, so you're in the cold. I was in the heat.
Yeah, I'll take the cold over the heat any day.
Any day.
I fucking hate
the heat is the.
Oh yeah, because the cold you can just work harder and warm up a little bit.
More layers, so you can't cool off. And it's always been in the back of my head of like this sense of like urgency of like that's what it was like, and I'm never fucking going back to that.
Oh yeah.
And then when you start experiencing like this magic internet money, and you're like, wait, I can make so much more. like with, I don't say less effort, but like less physical like exhaustion.
Yeah.
You just like don't take it for granted.
Yeah, 100%. Like, and like it's very common because I have a lot of connections like in the oil field and stuff. Guys will be like, hey, like, I want to do what you did, but like, I don't know how. And I was like, I'm not a fucking smart guy. I'm like, if I can do it, you can do it. Like, you just need to, the biggest thing in life for me is like never wanting to wonder what if. So like if I see an opportunity that like I feel is right, I'll go after it. Like I'll drive across the fucking country. I've moved to like to different countries for women or opportunities. Like I'll always chase it because if it doesn't work out, I'll probably get a cool story out of it anyways. And if it does work out, you don't know where it'll take you.
So one of the things that I love about Colin is this man has endless stories.
And I got some good stories.
But I also think like that's where I relate to you a lot is like taking risks. Like I used to have this mantra of like fortune favors the bold.
Yeah.
Because like I didn't want to wake up in 5, 10, 15 years and look back of like, man, what if I did do that?
Yeah.
And then the idea of just building like memories and like having stories to tell and laugh about, I think is just priceless.
Oh, it's the only thing you get to take when you're old. Nobody's going to care about your watches or your fancy cars.
Yep.
You're going to be the old cool guy that's got crazy stories and that are fun. And your life is going to be more rich.
Yeah.
You're going to experience more cultures. You're going to make new friends from different diversities and experiences. That's what life is.
Yeah.
Life's not about collecting useless shit.
No.
Yeah. So
No.
I'll always chase a good story.
Yeah.
It's funny you say that because my brother has that tattooed on his back.
What?
Fortune favors the brave or the bold.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh, that's cool.
And he runs a prison. Like he's a warden, or he was. Sorry.
Really? But that was, oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was always telling him because he has a kinesiology degree, and I was like, James, why don't you get into like the personal training because he loves fitness and he was always working out, and he was kind of helping some of the guards and stuff like get in shape.
Yeah.
And I had already kind of mastered the online like fitness business space. So I was like, I'll literally lay out the blueprint. I'll tell you how to do this. Like, I'll show you how to make money online. And he's like, I don't know. He's like, I don't know. Like, but I got like my pension and like, I want to work and stay here. But he's always like talking about wanting more. I was like, James, you fucking fortune favors the brave tattooed on your body. And I remember like giving him this like big speech. I was like, just fucking take an opportunity, take a risk. And now he's been doing it for like 3 years now, and he's making more money. And he retired. He quit from like being a prison guard and like a warden.
Cool.
And he's super happy. He's killing it.
Yeah.
And I love it.
That I think too, that highlights like in your life, like how powerful like one conversation can be.
Yeah.
I think that's always been like, as a sales professional, like my come from in sales is like, yeah, like this is a deal I can close. But this conversation can genuinely change the trajectory of this person's life.
Oh yeah.
You know? And it's not just in the
one
sales.
decision can.
One decision can, right? And just one perspective from someone that just plants a seed that you otherwise wouldn't have had in your head. And all of a sudden, like your life is just taking a whole different trajectory.
Yeah. For me, it was, I'll never forget it. I've talked about it multiple times. When I was apprenticing, like learning how to weld.
Yeah.
I had to work with a journeyman, somebody who was already certified and stuff. And I was very fortunate. I got stuck with a guy named Coleman Washbrook. One of the funniest, like best dudes. Is like a rock star welder, amazing guy. But in the oil field, nobody has a mindset. Like it's a very narrow-minded mindset. Like majority of people are just like, they go to work, they make money, they buy trucks and quads and big houses. And then they kind of get looped into like having to pay for all that. So they get like stuck into having to like be in the oil field and do that. Like you're in that cycle. And he was like super like adamant on like Tony Robbins, Robert Kiyosaki. So like when we were in like his truck and we'd have to like have downtime, most guys were like watching DVDs on the truck or listening to music. He always had audiobooks playing. And at the time I was like, who the fuck is Tony Robbins? Like I'm not listening to this shit for like fucking 10 hours a day. But after you listen to it for like hours and hours and hours, like you kind of start like thinking like, oh, hold on a second. I'm like, well, there's like more out there in the world and like you can accomplish some, because I never would have had that mindset if it wasn't for him.
Right.
And he started going to Tony Robbins events. And then I think I went one with him. No. I went with another friend, but he didn't go anyways. I went to my very first Tony Robbins event, and like the energy and everybody talking about like mindset and like business opportunities and stuff. That was like right before I left the oil field, and I was like, all right, fuck. So if it wasn't for Coleman, I would like never would have changed. I don't think. Yeah.
That like I always think about like pinballs, like right, you go in one direction,
Yeah,
and like
yeah.
one thing, like
Because all I was doing was like, I go to work, make my money,
yeah,
spend my money, go on a vacation on like the 2 weeks off that I get.
yeah,
And it was that cycle. And then when I started listening to like all this like Robert Kiyosaki and like who wrote How to Win Dale Carnegie. Yeah, How to Win Friends and Influence People.
yeah.
One of my favorite books. But I remember I was listening to that audiobook when we were there and I was like, fuck, I like this stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then like we just kind of became this team that like we didn't like listen to music and we were just sitting in his truck like, we're like, how the fuck are we getting out of the oil field? And he was coming up with ideas and I was coming up. Oh yeah. He got into like real estate and doing Airbnbs and stuff like
very
that.
cool.
Yeah. But like every day I'd be like welding. I'd be like, hey, how the fuck are we getting out of here? And like we'd be like trying to figure out ideas and like business models and strategies and stuff like that.
That's awesome, man. I feel like I got really lucky with a mentor in my life, but it came in like, it was just, I think the universe just put it in my path. I was looking for a job and I found this, I think it was on Indeed or LinkedIn, and it was like just the sketchiest post. Maybe it was Craigslist, bro. It was like looking for someone with construction experience to help us with a tech startup. That was the job post. I was like, I'm in.
Yeah,
So I think I have experience.
Yeah.
Tech? How hard could it be?
Yeah, I'll figure it out.
So I ended up like applying for the role. I get the job, and it's like two guys that had started this like, in a way it's called Dayworks, and I'm gonna shout you out in a second, Joe. It was this app kind of like for like Uber, but in the sense of finding day labor for the construction industry.
Oh yeah, okay.
So if you needed a couple guys, on
just
your
for
job
like a day
site,
or two or something. Yeah,
exactly. And so I was there for like 2 years. Like I helped like grow it. I was kind of like on the sales front that kind of got me started my sales career. But being around, so Joe DeJesus, so much love for you, man. He was a very successful home builder.
His name's DeJesus.
Joe
It's a
DeJesus.
fucking great handle.
You know,
It's a great name. I like it.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
You're just destined for success.
Yeah,
with
you
that.
know he's gonna be successful.
So he took me under his wing. Like he brought me to all like the job sites, and he was building these beautiful like James Bond looking houses. Like the most recent house he sent me pictures is like has an underground garage for like 50 like cars and motorcycles. So he builds these like beautiful like mansions, and just being around him and like hearing like the language he used, like just seeing how he problem solved. I think that really like put me on a path of like entrepreneurship of like, man, I want to like live like this fucking guy. I don't want to go work corporate till I'm 60.
Yeah.
I want to live like this dude. You know, he's building houses in like Hollywood Hills, and he was like self-made from like a very young age. And so like kind of in like your journey, like just having that person that like, you know, seeds those different ideas. Like that's kind of like what got me. A huge reason why I actually moved to California, because he let me drive a work truck from Connecticut to California. And I didn't think anything of it. I was like, okay, cool. It's a job. We'd be there and back in a week. And that I landed in San Diego because I needed to drop the truck off there. And like I get out of the truck and like,
San Diego's beautiful.
I was like, dude, people live like this?
Yeah,
It was like palm tree. It was like March. It was like snowing in Connecticut, and people were at the beach. It's like I had never seen surfing in like ever, except for like Rocket Power, you know, like the cartoon.
Oh, I don't know what it is.
Don't worry about it.
It's not important. Don't worry about it.
So I was like, I'm watching people surf, and I'm like, dude, people live like this. And like because of that, a year later was actually why I moved out to San Diego. But I would never have like even thought about that had like that chain of events not happened.
Yeah, and like just like the people you surround yourself with is one of the most important things. And if you're around like-minded individuals that are like have good quality character, morals, values, they're successful, and like you see them as like somebody that you want to aspire to be like, that's the most important thing to like success. If you hang out with shitheads, you're going to become a shithead.
It's such an like a simple concept that I feel like once you've started personal development, like you're constantly getting reminded.
Yeah.
But like when you really start experiencing it, like I think I've really seen it over the last couple of years, like just being around business owners that are hitting these crazy months that now, because I'm constantly around it, it just feels inevitable
it's just
instead
like,
of like unattainable.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, 100%. Like anything. It's like sports. If you're the best player on the hockey rink or whatever, soccer field, you're not going to grow and progress.
Yeah.
But if you're the shittiest and you're around like really, really good people, it's just going to elevate you even more.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's one of the most important things is just, you can see if somebody's going to be successful with like who they hang out with.
Yeah.
And you can also like see what their character is going to be like 9 times out of 10.
9 times out of 10.
Yeah. If it's some shady shithead hanging out with a bunch of degenerates, you're like, he's probably going to be a shady shithead as well.
What a concept.
What a concept. Shocking, I know. But the same thing with like if you're hanging out with people that are like growing and progressing, they're like reading, they're learning different skills and whatnot, like they're going to become successful.
Yeah.
So I think that's one of the most important things in business and just in life in general.
What do you think, like, in addition to that, like, because you've had multiple businesses, you've had a few exits, you have your success in e-commerce, and we've helped you like scale your coaching business. Like, I don't know, I don't want to sound cheesy, but some like lessons or maybe advice you'd give to your like younger self.
Do your due diligence when it comes to investing or partnerships, anything.
I'll second that one.
Yeah, yeah. Trust your gut. If it doesn't feel right, most of the times it's not.
Yeah.
And just take chances, take opportunities because you never know where it's going to take you.
Yeah.
And some of the biggest things that like I think hold people back is they don't have the courage to go after a potential opportunity. And like you'll see it on different scales of different businesses, but like even if like hiring your first sales coach, like that's a percentage of money that you are going to lose out on if you're thinking of it in that manner. But you're like, yeah, but you could also make X amount of money more. And then like a big, even for myself, like when I had to go from just like doing everything myself, like my marketing, branding, content, sales process, everything, hiring somebody else to sell for me was like I can do it myself better.
Right.
Yeah. Right. And like, it's not until you realize that, all right, maybe you're not the best fucking sales guy or you're not the best at marketing. Giving up like the reins, so to speak. Knowing when to delegate work is important too. And knowing your zone of genius.
Yeah.
Like I know what I'm good at. I know what my weaknesses are. I know what my strengths are. And I will always delegate my weaknesses off because it'll just make me more successful.
Yeah. I think you also nailed like something that I feel like really lucky getting into like the coaching space. Like a friend called me, sold me into some personal development. This is like similar to Tony Robbins. And like he sold me and I was like, the fuck did I just buy? Whatever. I guess I need it. Right. But that was like the first lesson in understanding the value of investing in mentorship and just seeing how much more you can accomplish in such much less time.
Yeah.
And I think that's like a muscle that's strengthened as an entrepreneur. There's just the more and more that you do it. And it's what separates a lot of like, people that make shit happen versus people that are always like in their comfort zone is like that simple shift in maybe it's like just valuing your time differently, but also just getting used to just like investing in someone's knowledge.
Yeah, absolutely. And like my father was super big on like not saying you can't do something. He's like, you can do it. You might be having difficulty or trouble doing it. And if you can't do it yourself, you can get friends or somebody else that has knowledge to help you. And I always remember like that always stuck in my mind where I was like, if I was like, I can't do this. It's not that I can't do it. I just don't know how to do it. So I either need to hire a mentor to teach me how to do it or somebody that knows how to do it, or I need to align myself with somebody whose strengths are my weaknesses. And that's what I've like always said to you. I usually have business partners for all my businesses because I know my weaknesses in certain areas and I align myself with people that's their strength. So just, there's a great quote. It's like, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. So just aligning yourself with the right team and people to like leverage and help you grow and progress and giving back. You're not going to be successful if you don't give back value and you don't help out others. You will not, because nobody wants to fucking work with a guy that's only in it for themselves. So providing more value is the way that you will grow and progress. And you'll always attract kind of the right people. I don't know how it works. I've always noticed that like, if you follow me on social media, you'll see that like every day I make a post. I'm like, hey, if you guys have any questions, if I can't answer your questions, I more than likely know somebody who can, and I'll point you in the right direction. And that like little, I guess like it's like a mantra that I've done. I've done it. If you follow me on social media, you've seen it a million times. I do it every single day. And just people are like, hey, do you know how to do this? And then if I know how to, I'll answer them. And if I don't, I'm like, I know a guy that's good at that. And then I'll connect them.
Yeah.
And that usually comes around somehow, some way. Like I've had clients that like one of my coaching clients, he was like, I didn't even remember him because I didn't even know him. And he's like, hey, he's like, I'm interested in hiring like a mentor, somebody to teach me how to grow and scale my online business. I was like, cool. And he was talking to me like he knew me, but I was like, I don't know this guy. And I was like looking at his Instagram and stuff. And he's like, yeah, you might not remember me, but like I asked you a question, you pointed me in the direction of this guy, and he helped me out with how to grow, like start he was opening like a box gym, like a smaller gym. And I was like, oh yeah, I think I remember that. He's like, yeah, well, I sold that, did really well. Now I want to get back into the online space. I don't want to have a gym. I just want to be online. And it was because I did that like years ago that I was like, oh, cool. So like it always comes back in some manner.
I've seen that much more over the last, I don't know, year and a half, where I'm having more and more people as my audience grows, just reach out to me about things. Sometimes things like I just genuinely either don't want to do or just don't do at all. But what I'm finding is like recently it's like 4 sales calls. 3 of them, they were just people that just weren't like, I just didn't want to sell to my program. So I connected them with people that I thought would be better fits. Yeah. And they all enrolled because they trust that referral from me.
Yeah.
And then all those guys just like sent me a kickback, right? It was like close to like just easy $2,000 of just thank you.
Yeah.
That otherwise, like had I not taken those calls or had I not done that, right? Like just wouldn't have come back. And karma wise, I know those people like down the road will likely be clients of mine once they're more established.
Oh, 100%. Just providing more value and helping others out. It's never going to be a detriment to you in life.
No.
Yeah. So either people will just like you or it'll come back in some dividend or some manner.
So just to wrap up here, so most of you guys that do follow me are either sales professionals or you're an info product business owner, maybe you're a lead gen agency owner, or maybe work with a lot of coaches. The business owners I work with, kind of like you, are between 50, 100K a month. We're starting to scale their sales team. Any last words of wisdom for like that audience, like the business owners or the closers that are maybe watching this?
I guess just, the biggest thing would be like understand your strengths and weaknesses, understand where you need the areas that you need to improve. Don't be afraid to like outsource and delegate and focus on your sales. If you can understand your sales process and you like dial it into like 75 or 70% and up, you're in like a good range. But if you're like 75% below of a close rate, I would either focus on hiring a sales coach or hiring a sales team.
Cool.
Yeah.
So if you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe. If you haven't said hello to me on Instagram yet, that's where I'm most responsive. You can find me at Andres_Piff Poppy. For you guys that don't know what Piff means, it's pay in full, baby. And I run the Cafes for Closers sales training community. Say hello. And if you do want me to audit your sales process, you have maybe a team in place or you're just not closing at the rate that you want, it's typically how I work. I'll audit your process, give you some feedback, and decide if you want to work with me or not. So